12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hi there. Good morning. It is Tuesday, January 30th.
Good morning. So good to be here this morning with you guys.
Glad you're here. It's never too early to get ready for Fiesta. And in just about an hour, the Fiesta Flambeau Parade Association will be announcing who their Grand Marshal and Honorary Grand Marshal will be this year.
So last year, actor Danilo Carrera was the Grand Marshal and Tejano singer Shelly Ladas was the Honorary Grand Marshal. So we'll have to wait to see who it is this year.
And again, that announcement will be made at 10 o'clock. You can watch it live on KSAT.com or any way you stream us.
And Justin, yesterday shaped up to feel like it was more Fiesta weather, 70 degrees in the afternoon, sunny. Are we going to see the same thing today?
Felt great. Yes, we are. It's going to be a repeat. So our changes don't really show up until the weekend, but we are starting to get into that warm weather mode. So we're thinking Fiesta, all the fun spring stuff. Feels like it, doesn't it, as we head into February. Let's go outside for you. We've got some thin high clouds moving over top of us right now, but it's not making a big difference on our temperatures. 50 degrees at the airport. New Braunfels is at 50. Seguin's 48. Kerrville just jumped out of the 30s. You're at 40 now. Light winds, but there is a little bit of a wind chill in spots. We've been watching that, although the winds just this hour have lightened up a bit, so it's not a big deal. Rain chances, when do they show up? Well, we think Thursday there's a very small chance, maybe a sprinkle or two, but you'll see on there it's Friday night. Friday night is what we're watching. That's when we get 60% chance of some showers and storms. Could see some pockets of heavy rain mixed in there, but this window's pretty small, and then it closes Saturday morning. Hopefully just in time for the cattle drive. We're going to talk more about that, the weekend forecast, these rain chances ever evolving here with our computer models, and we'll take a look in just a few minutes. But for now, over to RJ with a look at the end of your morning commute.
Yeah, Justin, and we're seeing a lot of sun shining through, and a lot of our TransGuide traffic cameras. Show you a few of them here. We're looking at Loop 410 and Perrin-Bidle traffic moving pretty smooth in this area. One trouble spot that we've seen throughout the past hour or so has been I-35 northeast side. We still see an stalled vehicle here being reported. Topper 1 and 35, you can see traffic is delayed, backed up here to the Live Oak to the Forum area. And we also have a crash off the highway, but still causing a little bit of delays here at O'Connor Road and Randolph Boulevard. So keep that in mind if you are traveling on the northeast side right now. Seems pretty busy in both directions right there. We're going to take you now to Castle Hills, that area, and we have a stalled vehicle being reported Loop 410 westbound at Babcock Road. And then we also have another stall a little bit further up the road there. That's going to be in the westbound lanes, also 410 at Vance Jackson. So been causing a little bit of delays in that area. Kind of just think the Cherry Ridge, Vance Jackson area, something to keep in mind, and also the West Avenue area. All right, moving on to gas prices here, because we've seen a 9-cent increase over the past 24 hours or so. So we're looking at gas prices here. The average gas price in San Antonio has jumped up to $2.85. A week ago, it was $2.72. So 13% increase, or 13-cent increase there from 1 week ago today. And we're actually above the average gas price here in the state of Texas. So right now might be a good time to go fill up. Of course, some production issues taking place there because of the winter weather that we saw over the past couple of weeks in the southeast part of the state. So just keep that in mind if you are headed out to the pump. Mark and Sarah, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ.
Here's today's 9 at 9.
President Biden is facing a difficult balancing act as he considers the risks of U.S. military strikes in the Middle East after a drone attacked a U.S. base in Jordan, killing 3 service members. It comes as we learn that U.S. forces may have mistaken the enemy drone for an American one, allowing it to pass through air defense systems unchallenged.
Boeing is now pulling back on a request to the FAA for safety exemption for one of its new lines of jets. The plane maker had asked for the exemption to speed up the approval process of its 737 MAX 7 planes. Lawmakers had been pushing the FAA to reject it after the recent incident that saw a door plug on a Boeing jet fly out midair.
A travel warning has been issued for U.S. citizens thinking of going to the Bahamas. It comes as the island nation sees a spike in crime. According to the U.S. Embassy, there have been 18 murders in Nassau since the beginning of the year, some taking place in broad daylight. Authorities say the murders were gang-related and warns visitors to stay alert.
Some ADHD and narcolepsy medicine has been recalled after a different drug ended up in the pill bottle. This is for the Zenzetti tablets. A sedative was accidentally mixed in with it and has the opposite effect of the stimulant. People who take this medication were warned that they could experience drowsiness. That could put them at risk for injury.
Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, is going to start sharing social media data with researchers who study online well-being. The announcement of the partnership comes ahead of Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's appearance at a congressional hearing about children's online safety.
Toyota is locking itself in as the world's #1 car maker with record sales in 2023. Sales rose over 7% to 11.2 million vehicles. Volkswagen coming in at #2, selling just over 9 million vehicles.
IKEA is continuing to cut prices. The furniture giant says easing costs for raw materials is allowing it to roll back some of the price hikes it had to put in place 2 years ago. The company says price cuts in some markets are already leading to increased sales.
Ads have arrived on Amazon Prime Video. Users are now seeing commercials in movies and shows. Amazon says the ads will be limited, but if that's too much, viewers can pay $3 per month to go ad-free.
TikTok is encouraging its creators to make some changes. It's asking them to start posting horizontal videos instead of vertical ones and post videos that are more than a minute in length. As an incentive, TikTok will boost those videos within 3 days, ensuring more views. And that's today's 9 at 9. Any morning headlines, Elon Musk putting his money into improving the lives of folks who are paralyzed. And if by chance you're headed to Vegas for the Super Bowl, take a credit card with a pretty high spending limit or a lot of cash.
A lot of cash. Plus, a man selling a watch on Facebook Marketplace got taken for a ride in more ways than one, and state troopers had to corral the circus. David Sears is here to explain this morning's headlines. Good morning, David.
People talk with their kids how they want to run away and join the circus. The animals of the circus tried to get away yesterday a little bit, but we'll have that for you in just a second. Pretty cute. But first, let's start with this. Once again, technology taking us where we have never gone before. And once again, courtesy of Elon Musk, his company Neuralink has implanted a brain chip in a human. The goal is to help paralyzed patients communicate by connecting to the chip to a computer. We're talking about people who have suffered a stroke and are paralyzed, or folks who have suffered a traumatic brain injury or spinal cord injury. Neuralink was approved for testing by humans by the FDA last May. The company first tested the technology in animals, the monkey playing video games. Doctors excited about the future.
I really do think that in my lifetime as a physician, I'll be able to use this type of technology to help my patients, and I cannot wait for that day to come.
Musk says humans who have lost their limbs will be the first to test out the new technology. You know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and usually that means your money. When the NFL announced the Super Bowl was going to be played in Vegas, you know it was not going to be a cheap weekend. So let's start with tickets. The average price of a ticket to see the Chiefs and the 49ers, $9,800. That is according to TickPick. That's a 70% jump from last year. The cheapest ticket as of now, $8,100. But remember, we're still a little less than 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, so prices usually go down a little bit as the game gets closer, but don't count on it this year. So those prices are high. How about hotel rooms on the Strip right now? The MGM has one for $84 the Thursday before the game, but the Friday before the game, $800. No price on the Saturday night, so it looks like it's sold out. Sunday night, $1,200. Checked in on a couple of other hotels too. Basically, give or take $100 or $2 for the other hotels on the Strip, and that's the general amount. And that's just a ticketed hotel. So you got to get there, you got to eat, you may want to gamble, even bet on the game if you're going to shell out all that money. Sure hope your team wins. All right, so this right here, that is Stephen Morrow right there. You see him jumping on the hood of that car. That's because some guy is taking off with his Rolex watch. But he lived to tell his story about the Facebook Marketplace deal gone bad. This happening in New York. So Mara put his watch up for sale online. He wanted $8,000, but he agreed with the buyer on $7,300. The buyer, or would-be thief, looked at all the paperwork and certificate while he was sitting in his car. It was all good. Then he wanted Stephen to get in the passenger side of the vehicle, and that was a red flag. The door was locked, so Mara went around to the driver's side. Here's what happened.
The engine was already running, so he had a leg up on me. But he hadn't had a chance to lock the door yet. So I pulled it, and that's when you see the video. That's when the video starts, is me sort of grabbing the door, opening it, and then he's shutting it and putting it in reverse.
Yeah, Morrow hits the street, gets up, gets on the hood, but as luck would have it, a cop just happened to be coming down the street. You can see it right there through the side of that screen door in the house where the video's coming from. There it is again, right there. So the car, the SUV driven by the thief, made an invasive move as Stephen was able to get off the hood in his own yard, but he admits it was a very expensive lesson. So now police are looking for a Honda SUV with Connecticut plates, a thief, and a Rolex. And finally this morning, this is what you call taking the show on the road, literally. Yes, those are camels, zebras on I-69 in Indiana, because in the background, you can see it there, the trailer they were in was on fire. A trooper came up on the burning trailer, jumped into action. A deputy also showed up. The two were able to get all the animals out safe. 5 zebras, 4 camels, and a miniature horse. The animals were from a nearby zoo, well, looks like a zoo. It was a nearby circus, actually. The officers suffered some smoke inhalation, but they'll be okay, and it's all good. So there you go.
So quick thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Zebras and camels. Can you imagine driving by that?
Well, I mean,
Wow.
I can't imagine all those. Well, maybe they all were willing and ready to get out of this.
I'm sure if the thing was on fire, those animals were
Poor
ready to go.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But
Everybody looks good.
Traumatized.
that's good stuff, though.
Yes, sir.
Good thinking.
Thank you, David.
All right.
Right now we're at 9:09, 51 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
The big jackets come out during cold fronts, but for smaller kids, bulky jackets could be dangerous while they're in their car seat. The next half hour, we're going to discuss what parents need to know and what to do instead if their child's jacket is too big for the car seat.
Plus, a woman scammed while parking nearby the Rodeo barbecue cook-off is a cautionary tale as rodeo season approaches here in San Antonio. What rodeo officials are telling folks so this doesn't happen to anyone else. Welcome back. It is exactly 9:13. It's a story that continues to have people talking in our area this morning. It's the one we told you about Sunday night of a woman who paid to park off-site near the Rodeo's barbecue cook-off, only to get towed.
With the rodeo kicking off next week, John Paul Barajas spoke with rodeo officials who explained there's one way to avoid that issue.
There's bad people out there, and we got scammed.
Terry Vasquez says what started as a trip to the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo's barbecue cook-off turned into trouble. The issue? Getting towed from her $20 parking spot at THT Off-Road.
Over $200 to get it out, and myself and about 20, 30 other people experienced the same thing.
THT Off-Road's owner, Nick Owen, told KSAT that some employees use the parking lot without permission to make extra money, adding, quote, "We will absolutely refund the towing and parking fees for all that were towed," end quote.
Take a chance at parking anywhere else besides the official San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo parking lots. You're never sure what could happen. Sometimes you might actually be towed. You might be frauded out of some money.
Chris Derby with the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo advises using official rodeo parking to avoid any headaches.
We actually have our lots all color-coded, lot 1 through 9. We also have some shuttle lots that are available. Any one of those will work. If you go to sarodeo.com and look for parking, you can see we actually pre-sell some of our parking as well, or you can buy the shuttle parking.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
As for those who were towed from THT Off-Road this past weekend, you can get a refund. The business says call the number on your screen, 967-9994, and ask for Mark, not me, a different Mark.
A different Mark.
Yeah.
And you will need to show a copy of your towing receipt. We also have this information on our website, ksat.com. And again, the rodeo kicks off next Thursday, February 8th, and ends February 25th.
Outside with live cam and see how things are looking out there. 51 degrees, just a few clouds out there right now, but not bad for a Tuesday.
It's close to perfect yet again, and we know rodeo season can always bring some cold weather.
Yeah.
Not in the forecast yet. We don't, we can't look out that far, but so far so good.
But a little bit of rain this weekend.
Friday night.
Okay.
So Friday night into Saturday morning, which end of the cattle drive. People are asking, when's this rain going to end? I think most of it will be out of here by then. That's the hope anyway. So let's show you the forecast. Let's start with rain. We've got 4.82 for the month and for the year, obviously, because we're in January. That is 4.82 above average, I should say, 6.72 for the year. This is a great number. This is a great way to start. Gets us off on the right foot. And we do have a little bit more rain in the extended forecast. We got to get into Friday night, but that's when I think rain chances peak. So we're talking really, I think, sunset Friday to about sunrise Saturday. We could get some showers and storms. And I don't know that it will add up to a ton of rain, but at least we have another opportunity coming in here, and hopefully the timing will work out where we can get this rain out of here by the time Cattle Drive rolls around. Water vapor imagery shows we've got some thin high clouds coming through, and this is going to be the trend not only today but tomorrow too. As we said yesterday, it'll make for some good sunrises and sunsets, but other than that, doesn't do much for our forecast. But what I do want to show you is this big spinning low out over the Pacific. So this is the next system that we're watching. Some energy from this will break off and move towards Texas. So as we get into tomorrow, it already is starting to affect the West Coast, San Francisco up to Seattle. Good heavy rain, a lot of wind with this system, and then it starts to push south. That's when you start to get rain around Las Vegas on Thursday, Los Angeles on Thursday afternoon. It's not until Friday, though, that we start to add in some rain chances here. So this is Friday, 5 o'clock, and we're noticing maybe a couple of showers starting to pop up. It really does pick up, though, by, again, after sunset Friday. So 9, 10 o'clock, seeing some showers and a couple of storms. Now, I can't rule out a strong storm at this time frame. I don't think we're going to see widespread severe weather, but a couple of strong storms are possible. This is midnight, still seeing some showers and a few storms around. And then this is Saturday, 7 o'clock, shows still rain over San Antonio, but it's after this that this quickly pushes off to the east. We get a westerly wind, which will dry us out. And then as we get into Sunday, it becomes more of a north and northwesterly wind, and it picks up. So Sunday will be windy. We'll see what Mountain Cedar does, although we're on the tail end of Mountain Cedar season. But that is our next storm system. And rainfall potential, well, it'll be highest across East Texas, but I think we could see up to an inch of rain here in San Antonio, lower amounts off to the west and some higher amounts off to the east. So we'll get to add, hopefully, to our rainfall totals for the year. 50 right now in San Antonio, 39 to dew point. West-northwesterly winds are light at about 5 miles per hour. Your forecast today is a good one. 65 noontime, up to 70 at 3 o'clock, 71 at 4 p.m., 70 at 5 p.m. Partly cloudy skies is what we'll call it, but it's just those thin high clouds, filtered sun, not a big deal. And by 8 o'clock, we're down to 59, and tomorrow morning, we drop all the way to 45. 71 Wednesday, 69 on Thursday. We'll see a few more clouds, maybe a sprinkle, but I'm not too worried about rain chances on Thursday. Again, it's Friday night, Saturday morning, where we'll have that opportunity for some showers and storms, and windy after that, but not terribly cold behind the system, 60s on Sunday and Monday.
Thank you, Justin.
Now is the time to make sure you are registered to vote. While it is a presidential election year, there's several Texas officials running for office at the federal, state, and local levels as well. And the Texas primary election is in March, and it'll be here before we know it.
You have until Monday, February 5th to register to vote and to submit an address change for the midterm election. You can check your status or verify your information on the Texas Secretary of State's website. Early voting will begin towards the end of February, and Election Day is March 5th.
919, 51 degrees.
Some Northwest Bexar County residents are fighting to stop wastewater from being dumped near the Edwards Aquifer. The construction project they say is behind this issue. We'll tell you coming up.
A legal fight is brewing over 1 million gallons of wastewater possibly getting dumped into Helotes Creek. That creek north of Helotes is out in the northwest part of the county.
It's off Scenic Loop Road near Gray Forest. The company Lennar Homes wants to build about 3,000 homes in the Gualajote Ranch property. That's where the wastewater would come from.
Now, the people who live nearby tell Patty Santos, though, what impact they're worried it could have on our drinking water.
I've said repeatedly that this is not an issue of not in my backyard. It's about not in my water faucet.
Plans for a new neighborhood call for more than 1 million gallons of treated wastewater to be dumped behind Michael Schick's house, but only if the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality approves a permit.
And it's not just people who live downstream in Gray Forest or in Helotes. It's affecting the water of 2 million people in San Antonio.
Schick is one of many residents near Scenic Loop in Gray Forest and Helotes who oppose the permit. Organizations like Metro Health and the Greater Edwards Aquifer Alliance also oppose it.
What happens if that gets contaminated?
The cost of treating water for the city of San Antonio would be astronomical.
Helotes resident Stuart Burbaum worries the plant could pollute drinking water in the Trinity and Edwards aquifers. He also says the treatment plant would only be required to self-report failures.
But we would hope that they would vote to deny the permit, given the concerns that so many parties have expressed about this project.
KSAT emailed TCEQ and Lennar Homes multiple times for comment, but we have not heard back. Earlier this month, TCEQ said the Guajolote Ranch permit meets state requirements for a wastewater treatment facility.
Basically, it sounds like TCEQ is looking at this application saying they're following the law. Everything seems to be okay. Go ahead and approve it.
That's exactly correct. And what we see in so many of these then is the burden falls on individuals who are going to be impacted and organizations like ours to raise the money, to hire lawyers, to fight these permits, which just seems like the TCEQ is not doing as best as they could to protect the citizens of Texas.
Opponents are asking anyone who uses water from the faucet in Bexar County to support their call for a contested hearing before a final vote. TCEQ has not announced when commissioners will vote on the permit. Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
25, 53 degrees, a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including our live Q&A with a Consumer Reports expert about the dangers of young children wearing bulky winter coats while in a car seat.
David and RJ will be back with morning sports and look at last night's latest ugly loss by the San Antonio Spurs. A couple of weeks ago, we had to bust out the big jackets because of a wintry blast. But for small kiddos, bulky jackets are a bad combination with car seats, and it could be downright dangerous.
But there are ways to keep your child safe while in the car, while also staying warm during these winter months. So joining us this morning to talk more about this is Emily Thomas, manager of auto safety at Consumer Reports. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning.
Hi, Emily. Good morning. So what do parents need to know when it comes to bulky winter layers and child car seats?
Everyone wants to keep their child nice and warm, and that's super important. But when they're in the car, you want to make sure that they're going to be protected by their car seat. So it's important that your child's coat is not adding any slack to the harness system. Those puffy layers can compress during a crash and allow for additional room within the harness that now lets your child potentially move outside the protection of their car seat. So it's important to do a quick test to see if your child's car seat is too thick for them to be wearing under their harness or under their seatbelt.
So how can parents check whether the child's coat is too thick to wear under the car seat harness?
So what you want to do is put your child's coat on, put them into their car seat, harness them up, buckle up everything, chest clip, crotch buckle, and then you want to tighten the harness until you can't pinch any of the harness strap between your fingers at their shoulder. This lets you know that the system is nice and snug. And then you're going to unclip everything without loosening the harness at all, take their coat off, and then reclip, and don't touch the harness adjuster. Don't tighten it. Do that pinch test one more time. If you're able to get any of the harness strap between your fingers at their shoulder, that tells you that their coat is introducing slack into their harness. So it's not a good option for them to be wearing under their coat, under their.
Yeah. All right, Emily. So what do parents do if the coat can't be worn safely under the car seat harness?
For young babies, we recommend that you take a blanket and just place it over them while they're harnessed properly. You want to make sure for every car ride that their harness is always buckled up and snug, just like I showed you before with that pinch test. You can place a blanket over them. And for older kids, you can put their coat on them backwards on top of their harness or on top of their seatbelt if they're a booster age kid, and they can just wear it like a blanket in that way.
And where should parents go if they're looking for a new or safer car seat?
We have a great resource for you at consumerreports.org/babies. All of our car seat ratings are free for everyone to access. And there's even an infant car seat finder tool that's also free for you to use. We have tons of great advice and recommendations for everyone.
All right, Emily Thomas from Consumer Reports joining us live. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Take care. Back here at home outside with live cam, warming up, jumped about 2 or 3 more degrees just in the last 30 minutes, Justin.
And good news, you don't really need the big puffy coat necessarily next couple of days for those kiddos. It'll be chilly in the morning, but it's dress in layers because by the afternoon it'll feel just fine. We promised some good sunrises and sunsets with these cirrus clouds overhead, and here you go. This is sunrise this morning. You see the red color there right along the horizon. Beautiful, beautiful shot. I love the silhouette of the trees, too, here in the winter. So thank you so much for sending that in. And as we look at the pollen count for today, Mountain Cedar is high. Jumped a little higher today to 690. Not a huge number, but that is technically in the high category. Molds are low at 380. And as we look at the Mountain Cedar graph here, where do we stand? Well, Mountain Cedar season really honestly should start to wind down here soon. Once we reach the 1st of February, typically numbers start to come down, and Valentine's Day we say is the unofficial end to Mountain Cedar season. Well, looks like we got kind of an early start this year, so in theory we could be saying goodbye to Mountain Cedar here fairly soon. That's the hope. KSAT 12-hour forecast, noontime 65. We make our way up to 71 this afternoon. We'll call it partly cloudy with those cirrus clouds over top of us, and we'll see more nice weather next couple days before those rain chances hit this weekend. Another look at the timing there and how much rain we could see here in just a couple minutes.
Thank you, Justin. The Spurs had a shot at winning 3 in a row for the first time this season.
That's right. After leading most of the game against the Washington Wizards, they collapsed in the last couple of minutes. David and RJ back to talk morning sports. Hey, guys.
Morning.
Never felt comfortable watching this game. Never did. Spurs get up 7, 8, 9. The next thing you know, Washington cuts it down to 2, 3, and then Spurs get up again. It was one of those back and forth games, and then it got towards the end of the fourth quarter, and you're like,
You know, my problem was that I felt way too comfortable. I was Spurs playing pretty well, 3 games in a row. Washington, not a great team coming into town. We have got this. Boy, was I wrong, because the Spurs reverted back to basically what we've seen all year.
It's never over till it's over. Remember that, RJ.
That is true.
It's never over till it's over.
Spurs here. All right, so we started with some Victor Wembanyama here. He had himself another nice game. I believe it's like 6 or 7 straight games that he's gone over 20 points. Devin Vassell ended up with 24. But, David, my issue here, especially with the starters, and when Washington started making a push here, Jeremy Sohan, Julian Champagnie, a combined 5 points. That's 2 starters, a combined 5 points there.
Chetty Osmond had 20 off the bench. Matter of fact, he was like 4 or 6 from 3-point range. So he helped them out. But this is just, I mean, I can see why you thought they were going to do really well. I mean, look at that. There he goes. There's Chetty with a big 3. But then this started happening. Washington got hot from the quarter. So with 5 minutes left, the Spurs were up 107-98. That's with 5.5 left in the game. Washington got the lead, and then the Spurs were back up 111 to 110 with 2.5 left.
Right.
The last 2.5 minutes of the game, the Spurs turned it over twice, lost the defensive rebound, and Washington went on an 8-2 run. That's not going to get you many victories.
I think, David, even if you go back to the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, San Antonio had a 9-point lead. I believe it was 107-98, and Washington ended up going on a 20-6 run to close out the fourth quarter. It's just a carbon copy of what we've seen a lot with this team. Even Pop last night. I mean, you know, Pop I don't think has been too hard on these guys. He should be a little bit harder.
Should be.
But he did say that their play was immature down the stretch, that they look like a young team. They made a lot of mistakes, and he said that they played foolish at times down the stretch.
2 of their turnovers, like in the last 2.5 minutes of the game, Devin Vassell committed an offensive foul trying to set a pick, and then Keldon Johnson dribbles through traffic and turns it over. And Washington ends up getting this bucket off of that one, and then they missed a defensive rebound. Washington got the offensive rebound and put it back for a slam, and then they were up 5, and that was the end of that. So
how many times have we heard Keldon Johnson late game mistake? I mean, I get it. KJ plays hard. He brings a lot of energy off the bench, but there's been a handful of games. I would say maybe more than that we've seen Keldon kind of, make some sort of mistake there down the stretch, and that definitely cost the Spurs. Don't want to just blame it on KJ.
No.
It's a team effort. It's a team collapse. But, and again, Jeremy Sohan, 2 points yesterday. Like, come on, dude.
But here's what makes you sick. I mean, they beat Minnesota, and then they're feeling really good about themselves. They got Washington, a team that's not very good in the East, and they got this game all the way to the end, but they could never. I mean, it just never felt like they were going to take control of this thing, and in the last 2 minutes they did. So
come on, RJ, fire them up a little bit. I want to roll out the soapbox for 24. Come on.
David, bringing out the soapbox anytime soon? This is not a soapbox game.
This is not a soapbox moment, man. That's typical. I mean, how many times have we seen this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so tomorrow night, it's the Magic. We'll see if the Spurs can perform some magic. Magic aren't bad.
No, they're pretty good, actually. Contending for a play-in spot, playoffs in the East right now. Magic, a really good team. Pablo Banchero coming into town for Orlando there, taking on Wemby. I think the last 2 first-round picks should be pretty fun matchup there between Pablo and Pancho Banchero.
And this is the last home stretch before the Rodeo road trip. And when you looked at the schedule, this is the one where the Spurs could really collect some wins.
Yeah.
And so far, what do they got? 3 out of this stretch.
They got a couple, yeah.
And then they blew last night.
Yeah.
So but it doesn't get any easier. Matter of fact, it starts getting harder. And they have what? 10 wins.
10 wins right now.
10 wins, and they got almost 40 losses. Mm-hmm. 30s late.
That hurts.
Yeah, high 30s. So I still don't know if they're going to even get as many wins as they got last year.
How many did they have last year?
22.
Okay.
I believe, 22 and 60 was their
and that was the worst.
Yeah.
In I don't know.
I mean, they were projected to win 30 games this year. That's obviously not really in the cards unless they go on some incredible run here late. But
I believe it was one famous weather guy who said they're going to shock the world this year, and they are shocking the world. They're shocking us because they can't win.
Hey, I was right. I wasn't completely wrong.
No, you were right. Shock the world.
Hashtag shock the world. Yeah.
Next year.
Next year.
Oh, that was the caveat. You forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
My bad. We love you, Justin.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
I'm
done.
Okay. It's not a soapbox. It's a walk-off. All
He's just done.
Thank you, David. And RJ, obviously. 9:38, 55 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
Still to come, Jesse Degollado tells us about the first people of San Antonio at the Spanish missions. Their descendants are proud to say their roots here date back hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's always a great day to go to the San Antonio. What happened? We had this was the crane cam. Mm-hmm. The cranes are not there. Oh,
wait, what?
I think that's a duck.
Yeah, but generally a craneless exhibit at the moment. It must be in another part of the shot, like around the corner behind trees and stuff.
Justin, have you seen Migration with your girls?
No, but I want to. I heard it was good.
It is so good. It reminded me of the duck, flying in the pond. It's so good.
Love it. I do want to see it. I heard it is funny.
Yeah.
Hey, UTSA just stopped by, dropped us off some eclipse glasses. We're getting ready for the eclipse. We're doing it big this year, by the way. Oh, yeah, you got to put them on.
Got to model them for the. Here you go.
April 8th, guys, total solar eclipse. Big deal. They look very nice.
Thanks. You can't see anything. It's, safe.
Oh, well, that's the idea. You do have to be safe. So with the glasses on this particular eclipse, you only need them before and after because totality, will last about roughly 2 minutes in northwest San Antonio. You won't need them. Before and after, you will. So you'll need them most of the time, but during totality you won't, which is pretty cool.
So you can look right at it during totality.
Only during totality.
I can take them out.
Without the glasses. Yeah. And when is it again?
April 8th.
April 8th.
Okay.
Yeah, big deal. We're very excited. We're going to be doing a lot for it, so stay tuned. Let's go and take a look at something else astronomical here. This is the moon with its large halo. We get this seen quite a bit when we get these thin, high cirrus clouds coming through. You have to remember they're made of ice, so it refracts the light, and you get this perfect circle around the moon. It is always so cool to see, and we love all the pictures you've been sending in on KSAT Connect, so thank you. Beautiful shot there. Speaking of those high clouds, yeah, they're still around, and we're going to continue to see them streaming in from the Pacific more and more. I've put some color here to the high clouds so you can get a kind of an idea of where they're thicker, and that's right now down around Corpus Christi and out west. But as we zoom out some, you see there is a lot of high cloudiness out over parts of western Mexico and central Mexico, and that will be feeding in. So off and on, filtered sun is what we're going to call it over the next couple of days. Right now, 50 degrees, west-northwesterly winds at 5, and dry air. Our forecast today, noontime 65, by 3 o'clock 70, 71, 4 p.m. 75 by 5 o'clock. So great for all the after school sports or whatever plans you got going on later this evening. 62 at 7 o'clock, 59 at 8 p.m. Our dew point trend. It's going to be dry next few days. Dew points will be in the 40s. So that's why we'll have the good fluctuation in temperatures, cool mornings, nice afternoons. It starts to change a little bit on Thursday. A little influx of moisture gives us perhaps a bit more cloud cover on Thursday. So not just the high clouds, maybe some lower level clouds as well. And then by Friday, we'll have enough moisture there to help hopefully generate some rain as our next storm system starts to move in. So let's look at the futurecast. There's the big bowling ball of a system that will continue to produce some rain along the west coast today. So this is 5 o'clock tomorrow, still producing rain, but it starts to move inland Thursday. And then by Friday is when we start to notice some changes here as that storm system gets a little bit closer. I think we start to see a few showers, and then by the time we get into Friday night, so after sunset, showers and storms may develop. This is around 9 o'clock. And I think this continues to midnight and into very early Saturday morning. This is 7 a.m. For the most part, though, I think the rain scoots east pretty quickly, and so we get to clear out for most of Saturday. But we're going to be watching Friday night. I think there is the potential for a couple of strong storms, lightning, some thunder, some rain, obviously. But it's the window's small, and so it moves out of here by most of Saturday, and then Sunday we're looking at clear skies but windy conditions. So we'll start to get more of a northerly, northwesterly wind on Sunday, which could, in theory, kick up the mountain cedar a little bit. Rainfall potential with this system for us, maybe up to an inch here in San Antonio. If you're out west, it's going to be much lower, 1/4 of an inch, and then if you're east of San Antonio, 1 to 2 inches potentially. So adding to our rainfall total for the year, which has already been pretty good. 71 Wednesday, 69 Thursday, 72 Friday. We're going to put in a 60% chance of rain Friday night into Saturday morning, clearing out on Saturday, turning breezy, and then windy on Sunday. This system, though, does not cool us down all that much. We'll be looking at 60s on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, guys.
Thank you, sir. Many may not realize San Antonio's Spanish missions were the foundation of the city's first neighborhoods.
To honor their devotion to the indigenous people who lived in those missions, a San Antonio Peace Center at Northwest Vista College named Ramon Vasquez and his late father Ramon Vasquez y Sanchez Peace Laureates.
This edition of History Untold, Jesse DeGollado says Vasquez continues to share the little-known history of San Antonio's first inhabitants.
The beauty of San Antonio's Spanish missions is often revered and admired.
But the people that built these missions, that lived in these missions, loved in these missions, died in these missions, they're the ones that created the foundation of the South Side. And this is where the beginnings and the roots of this city lay.
One of their descendants, Ramon Vasquez, says it wasn't until his organization began making more people aware of their history.
You would hear the history of San Antonio and you think that when the Spanish got here, they were greeted by mariachis. Yeah.
Not hardly. Vasquez says the missions were built for specific Native American tribes, making them and their descendants the first peoples of San Antonio.
This is where our house was.
Brenda Pacheco's family, dating back 300 years, lived just beyond the walls around Mission San Jose. She remembers as a child looking out her window.
I could see the sunset on that bell tower. And you don't realize how precious that is.
To make way for parking and a visitor center for tourists, Pacheco's and the other legacy families were bought out and their homes demolished.
That was the end of the neighborhood. They completely erased us.
Eventually, the descendants of legacy families moved elsewhere in the city, like those of Mickey Killian, who grew up at Mission San Juan. His tribal roots include the Borrados, known for their distinctive tattoos, knowing that Native Americans like them were here thousands of years.
It means that I'm a part of this land.
It's a sense of pride, of knowing that our roots run deep. They run very deep.
Jesse DeGollado, KSAT 12 News.
Well, Jessie has such a way with words, doesn't she?
Love her stories.
9:49, 56 degrees.
When we come back, how one veteran is sharing his experiences and knowledge about World War II with younger generations.
The number of Americans alive today who can remember World War II is dwindling fast.
But as ABC's Danny New reports, one veteran is doing his best to share his story with younger generations.
How many cities have a ship from World War II just floating in its harbor?
I was on an attack transport ship.
And on top of that, someone also to fill you in on what it was like to be on a ship similar to this one 80 years ago.
When you see this ship, do all the memories come flooding back?
Yes, it does.
98-year-old Arthur Grabiner, a lifelong New Yorker, was drafted into the Navy back in 1944. And the USS Intrepid, a decommissioned aircraft carrier, sits here in New York City's Hudson River as a time machine that lets folks try and understand what Arthur endured at just 18 years old.
I figure it's a duty that I owe this generation. The war starts there. It's not a pretty sight.
Now, Arthur has been volunteering to speak with classrooms and military academies for decades. He's been honored at Giants games and the New York Stock Exchange. But in the past few months, he has started coming here routinely to set up this table full of pictures and clippings, tell his story, and most importantly of all,
so Intrepid had over
3,500.
Yeah.
Answer questions. Because sure, you can watch a movie about World War II, but for now, we still have people we could just ask about it.
I hope for the future that they could learn something. I'm thankful I still could spread the word.
Arthur is a hero, and he said a lot of the replicas at the Intrepid represent his experience, like this 3-tiered bunk bed. Imagine trying to get in and out of this thing every day. We're not going to show me getting out of it, though. That was a very long process. In New York for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Coming up tomorrow on GMSA at 9, it's a new edition of Science with Sarah. Tomorrow, Sarah Spivey and David Sears will be out at Olympia Elementary in Universal City. They're doing a volcano experiment with some third graders. Pretty cool, learning about changing landscapes. So tune in for that and much more tomorrow on GMSA at 9.
David Sears pretty much demands these days that something explodes.
It's always an explosion,
yes.
something.
So you got to be able to eat it or blow it up.
Exactly. It'll be awesome tomorrow. 71 Tuesday, 71 Wednesday, 69 on Thursday. We're going to get that rain chance showing up Friday night into Saturday. So that's our next best chance. Rain clearing out, though, for the weekend and windy.
Hey, don't forget, in just a matter of minutes, we'll be learning who will be the Grand Marshal and Honorary Grand Marshal of this year's Fiesta Flambeau Parade. The association expected to make that announcement at 10 o'clock, and we will be live streaming it. Last year, actor Danilo Carrera was Grand Marshal. Talent singer Shelly Lattes was the Honorary Grand Marshal. Danilo from Ecuador has been in multiple shows and films. Lattes, known as Little Miss Dynamite, born here in SA, has been a part of the Tejano music scene for nearly 40 years. But again, we're still on the lookout to see who this year's Grand Marshal and Honorary Marshal would be.
And of course, we'll be live streaming it on KSAT.com and on our app, KSAT Plus.
That's right. Thanks so much for watching. Be safe out there.
Thank you, guys. Happy Tuesday.